It seems like it's been 40 weeks since you got 40 winks. Your back pain? Unbearable. Tossing, turning, trying to find that pain-free position. And that's the moment you realize you can't spend another waking moment putting off treatment.
The Joint and Spine Center is Cincinnati's leading destination for spine care, with a ton of surgical and non-surgical treatments for back pain. So when a moment has the power to change the rest of your life, go to the one place with the power to change it for the better, the Christ Hospital Health Network. This changes everything.
The Pound This Podcast is brought to you by the Christ Hospital Health Network. This is the Pound This Podcast, episode 643, Mindfulness and Fitness with Nick Alessandrini.
I want to lose weight, but I don't know how to get started.
What should I meal prep every week?
How do I get those sweet booty gains?
Inspiration for your healthy lifestyle. The Pound This Podcast with Amanda Valentine.
Thank you so much for listening to the Pound This Podcast. I'm Amanda Valentine. My guest today, you've been on the podcast before. It's been a while.
It's been a long time.
I know, it's been like 2 years.
Has it been 2?
Well,
I guess it would have had to. I feel like, 2020 just makes everything seem like it's in a time warp.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, I think it was fall of 2019, so we're not quite at 2 years yet.
Okay.
That you were part of the tween week that I did. With your background with working with kids in fitness, which I obviously want to get to, but let me make sure I'm saying the name right. Nick Alessandrini.
Nailed it.
Yes.
I don't know if I say it that good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to give you that much credit.
I know, right? I was like, I just said it once. I'm sure you've had to spell it out a million times.
Yeah, spelling doesn't help either.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately.
What kind of pronunciations do you typically get for your last name when people get it confused?
All over the place. People tend to not realize that it's all one name.
Oh.
So they'll be like Allison, or they'll like expect that was my mother, or they'll say like, oh, Green or Dreeny, or just like they catch pieces of my last name and then they decide that they're going to just run with that piece of it, I guess.
Do you know like the heritage of your last name?
It's Italian.
Do you know any deeper than that? Have you done like the family tree or the DNA test?
I mean, I know a little bit. I never did a DNA test, but from my understanding, my heritage comes from, I guess, my great-grandfather Enrico came from Rome, and then his wife, I think it was Mary, she came from, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, Babylonia, or
okay.
I think it looks like bologna on the map.
And then you ended up in Cincinnati.
Well, I did the work of coming over here from Italy. No, I'm as American as it comes.
Yeah. So you work here at Cincy 360 Fitness. So we're coworkers now. That's fun.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've been coming to the gym for 2.5 years now, and so I've seen you here obviously, and then you've come in on my podcast before. But I'm excited to learn more about you and your journey of like, speaking of your ancestors and like where they came from, and how does this end up to Cincinnati? Of like, how did you begin and how did you end up to where you are right now, sitting here recording this podcast with me? So were you always interested in health and fitness? Were you an active kid?
Yes, I was in sports since I was very young. And my dad, thank goodness, took me under his wing and showed me the gym when I was 12. So he laid the foundation pretty young. So I feel like regardless of where I would have went with my career, I think it's always going to be something that I was going to enjoy my entire life and never get too far away from one way or another. So as a kid, I played baseball, was mainly the sport that I was attracted to, but I dabbled into, soccer when I was really little, basketball, got a little bit older, I played some football, but then baseball was kind of my thing, really latched onto that. When I was young, I always swore I was going to be a major leaguer and realized that there's a lot of people with a lot of talent out there. But no, I played through high school. Never played in college, but kind of wish I would have had the chance to. But actually, music came into play to kind of steal the spotlight of my attention at the moment. So played some drums in a band in high school, and that kind of took over my chances to, well, not just my chances, but my desire to push hard to be noticed as a college player.
So what was the name of your band in high school?
Oh, man, you're asking that question?
Yeah.
It's called Fantastipotamus.
Oh, man. What kind of music did you guys play? That sounds like you'd play like some like jam band sort of stuff.
Well, we did have a trumpet player and a trombone player,
right
so we
on.
could jam. We weren't really like just let's jam out for 10 minutes type jam band, but we played a lot of ska music.
Okay.
Dabbled a little into reggae, but mostly it was ska. So if anybody doesn't know what that is, it's basically like reggae, except
like,
hyped up, right? Like
Brian Seltzer. Would you say
Brian
that it's got,
Seltzer.
or
I don't know if I'm
Cherry
familiar.
Poppin' Daddies?
Yeah, Cherry Poppin' Daddies, along those lines, but Cherry Poppin' Daddies I would consider more of like a swing.
Okay, yeah, I guess Brian Seltzer would be more of a swing too. I'm trying to
Brian
think.
Seltzer sounds really familiar.
That he was also the lead singer of the Stray Cats.
I'm not familiar with that one either.
Okay, if I play the Brian Seltzer Orchestra song, you would probably recognize it. I
I'm
can't
sure I
think of
would.
what it is right now. So what's more? What am I thinking of? What was the big ska band in the '90s that I can't think of right now?
Real Big Fish was really
That's
popular.
what I'm thinking of. Yeah. Okay.
I saw them like a bazillion times in concert.
Nice. Then, did you guys ever like get any paid gigs? Did that take you anywhere, or was it just a fun high school thing?
Mostly just a fun high school thing. We did get paid, but it was never like anything to, be all that jazzed out about. We had a savings account that we opened up, and if we got paid for a gig, we just throw it in there and kind of have this, umbrella for if anybody needed a new instrument or needed to, brush up or whatever, then we would just pull from there. Or sometimes we actually pulled it from there to just create fun ideas for shows and use, props and hand out fantastic cookies.
That's awesome. So did you go to college for music then?
I did not. No, I went to college for health and fitness.
Okay.
That was kind of a hard decision for me to make. At the end of high school, I knew I liked working out, and I was trying to think of a good way to utilize my love for fitness with a way to obviously pay the bills. And first I was looking into the program of physical therapy, and actually was accepted to UC's Allied Science program. And I realized it was basically pre-med, which I didn't realize
That's
at the
intense.
time. I was like, okay, this is pre-med. And then I realized it was going to be bare minimum 8, if not more years of college. And I think I got scared away by that.
Yeah.
With
Especially, when you're a teenager and you're just like, oh my God, that's forever.
Yeah. So, student debt thoughts and, like how long is it going to be until this, is going to come back to return for me. And then I started thinking, the people that go to physical therapy, there might be some people that are like really like trying to get better and really pushing their foot on the gas to try to get back to where they were. But it seems like, at least in my mind, maybe I need to talk to a physical therapist about this, but it seems like a lot of the people that go there just like, oh, I got injured, or, elderly people that are losing strength, or, people that are like, I don't want to do this, but I have to do this. My doctor says I have to do this. And, I'm sure, like I said, there's other people that are taking it seriously and are ready to get back to where they were. But I think the 8 years of college plus, I don't know if I'm going to be with a lot of people that actually want to be,
Yeah.
we're doing what I want to work.
Yeah.
So
then what did you major in college? Then what's your degree title?
So it's health and fitness technology.
Oh, what's that mean?
I'm not sure. No, I learned a lot about the human body. A lot of my classes were with nurses or people from the nurse program. I ended up going to Cincinnati State. The idea originally was to get 2-year degree there and then have those credits transferred over to UC. Obviously, I got scared away from the 8 years, but there was a lot of, anatomy and physiology, terminology classes, and then there was, a lot of labs and for fitness and that kind of a thing.
Do you find I don't want to jump too far ahead, but just to ask about this, with what you're doing now, is all that stuff applicable? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
it transfers into actually like helpful to you now.
I would say yes, but also I think it took me a while to realize that.
Okay.
And I'm sure you probably can identify, getting your certification when you're reading all that stuff or you're learning all that stuff. It seems so like out there and foreign to what you really think fitness is at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was kind of just like a, teenage bro, really, like you're coming in. I don't know. I like fitness. Let's lift some weights. You know what I mean? I had this idea that, bench press and bicep curls, and all the stuff that, younger kids everybody really wants to end up doing. So I had that in my mind while hearing all of this very scientific mumbo jumbo that I had never heard before. It kind of went in one ear and went out the other.
Yeah.
And though I always had a love for science, and did well, I don't think I was able to actually use that information right away to apply into at least my fitness at the moment, or at least maybe wasn't ready to. It took me to actually become a trainer and see things that were happening on the day-to-day, and have somebody, hey, I have this issue. Okay, well, I don't know about that. Let me go study about it. And then being able to immediately take that and apply it, because at that point you're studying to help somebody. So when you're studying to help somebody, I feel like there's a lot more motivation and you're ready to apply it right there. And then
It just makes more sense to you when you can physically, like, here's the person, I'm seeing what's wrong and applying it, at least for me anyway. Like, instead of just reading a chapter in a book when you can have no point of reference.
Yeah. So now what I'm doing is I'm realizing what's applicable, and then I'm looking back into some of my books that I had in college, and I'm like, oh, yeah, well, I would do this test on somebody now. I wouldn't at the time. I didn't think it made any sense. Like, why would you do this when you can just, lift heavier? I don't know.
Yeah.
But, I think over the years the more you know, the more you realize you don't know, and then that spirals into just wanting to learn as much as you possibly can, because you realize all the things that you don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
So
right out of college then, did you just become a personal trainer?
I didn't. I was, I guess I was a little nervous about just the idea of putting myself out there and being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I don't think I was ready to handle the business side of things.
Mm-hmm.
And, there was two options in my head, at least. And those options were, okay, go be an entrepreneur and do it on your own, or go work for a big box gym, which I didn't have any desire to even back there, because I could just tell walking around at the gyms that there was a lot of, big turnover rate. People were in and out. And it didn't really seem like the people had as much of a passion. Again, that's not to speak for everybody, but just in general, that's what it seemed like from my point of view, who was somebody that was working out in the big box gyms. And then from there, I kind of got scared into, okay, maybe I'm not ready for this.
Mm-hmm.
Started putting, applications out and for different places, and landed a few jobs that were kind of just like, okay, let me learn how to be a functional adult in the society with, the restaurant industry, and then portrait studio is where I met my wife. And then eventually I found myself at the little gym, and just by chance put my application in. I think I found them on Facebook, actually, the little gym.
And that's a gym for kids, right?
Yeah. So I ended up training there, training, coaching, whatever you want to call it, for 7 years. And then it was, actually, I'm going to tell the story because I think it's really cool. It was a day that I had been walking in the woods, and I sat down to meditate, and my meditation basically guided me and said that I needed to become a personal trainer. And
That's awesome.
so then I listened to my guidance, and I had my certification from Cincinnati State, but it had been expired, so I needed to recertify. So I recertified with ACE, and I want to say 4 months after I got certified, I put my application in Indeed and found Josh at Cincy 360 Fitness, and I've been here for 4.5 years now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between, training and coaching kids for 7 years and then going to adults? Like, is that a weird transition?
It is. Honestly, it's a little less stressful because in the scenario that I was in, you had to find that balance between keeping the children safe, keeping the children occupied or entertained, and keeping the children learning. And with a class full of them, it's just, there's times where you're like, I kind of want to pull your hair out because one kid's running one way and hitting another kid. And, you're still trying to make it look presentable for the parents to see because they're watching everything. And still finding a way to get the kids engaged enough to learn some skills. Though it was very, very fun, had a ton of fun for those 7 years, and I feel like I had a big impact in the kids' lives. I just find that training adults is way less stressful, especially in this setting, because I think the people that are here generally want to be here. They generally want to make changes. So when you're talking to an adult that's listening and has got their attention on you and is trying, for the most part, trying to do what you are asking of them. Kids aren't always like that. So
Yeah.
It was a big difference there. I think that was the biggest piece of it.
I would imagine that also it would be difficult dealing with parents. Like, it feels like, I've been to some sports games with kids and parents just get intense. And so I'm like, I feel like any sort of physical fitness or something with kids, I feel like there would be some parents that would be like, whoa.
Yeah, there was a few parents that got a little intense, but for the most part, it was, it's a pretty competitive environment. So, the kids that were coming to see me weren't necessarily kids that were like training for, trying to make the high school team, or it wasn't anything like that. It was kids all the way down to 4 months up to 12 years. Most of them, I would say, is just like a first time tumbling class. A lot of them getting a little more serious and potentially wanting to turn competitive. And then, you would build on their skills there, basically prepping them for kind of a more competitive type environment. Or just teaching the kids how to play sports and the skills of sports. We did have one that was called Fit Kids that was more directly just about energy expulsion. We had a family that loved bringing their kids to us, and they had off-season time for them. All their kids were involved in sports somehow, and they just wanted them to come in and burn some energy off and get stronger and keep them active in the off-season. Mm-hmm. That was kind of a cool class that we had there. Also dance, right? I was a dance instructor for a while.
Oh, nice. What kind of dance?
It was hip hop.
Oh, right on.
So, I know how to step and touch.
I don't have any dance skills.
No?
Do you feel like somebody that has zero dance skills can learn how to do, like, even when I've tried like Zumba classes or any sort of dance fitness, like it is bad. It's not pretty.
Is it socially acceptable to have a few drinks before you jump into like a...
Oh man, do you know what I feel like? If I had a buzz going, I'd probably be a lot better at it.
I think that's how everybody feels. They
right?
feel a little better when they have a buzz going, I guess.
Yeah, but like doing even at one point in time, I had the Zumba fitness thing for the Wii because I'm like, okay, I'm terrible in person at this. Let me try it at home. And I'm not kidding you. I never got beyond a 1% score. Like that's how
Nice.
bad I am.
1% as in
1% out of 100.
1 out of
100 means like you
100%. Yeah.
crush this game. 1% means like, well, you could have thrown the remote at the wall.
it,
And it would have been scored higher.
it almost sounds like you need to try to get that low of a score.
I know. It's just because like I get so confused of like the mirror effect where like the instructor's facing you
Oh, yeah.
and you're doing them of like of which way to go. And that's where I would get so messed up with any sort of dance stuff where I'm like, I'm banging into other people and walls. Like for some reason, my brain just doesn't connect to it. And I'm like, well, I mean, I guess I get points that I'm just moving, that I'm still moving my body. I'm just moving in the wrong direction than everybody else.
You moved, you get a point.
Yeah, right. Oh my God. Yeah. So I'm like, I think that stuff is so fun. And I've seen so many of the like the dance fitness stuff or just any sort of like the dance things. And I'm like, I can't. I'm like, the only dance skills is if I'm super hammered and I'm in a bar or I'm at a wedding reception or something like that. And then I can't even imagine how bad it looks then. I just don't care because I'm
You don't
too
have any
drunk.
video footage of this?
No, thank God.
No, we
I have
can't.
video footage of plenty of other stupid things.
We
I've
can't
done
put
when
it
I'm
up
drunk.
on your Instagram.
No, I mean, I probably would. I do have a video of me getting drunk and jumping into a Christmas tree
Into a Christmas
at a
tree.
bar.
Oh, did you feel it?
Yeah, I snapped it in half.
So you went hard.
I did. It was a fake tree, so
okay.
I feel like it was already had the bend in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
But that was at the time Kiefer Sutherland jumped into a Christmas tree. I don't know if you remember that, but
No.
that's where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do that too.
I'll see you at Inspiration.
I did. That's
See,
on YouTube.
When you say this, I was thinking like you did it on accident, but you like
No, I didn't. Here, get the video, get the point and shoot camera ready at the time, and I'm going to jump into this thing, and then we're gonna haul ass out of this bar.
Nice.
Which is exactly what we did. Tree jump, run.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that's.
Well, yeah, I would like to see that.
I can show you that. I've done a lot of weird things, but I'm just not coordinated to do so. So maybe you can have like a hip hop Saturday class or something here.
man.
That would be fun, right?
It sounds like it would be fun. I have to build up my courage to do that again.
Lose it after a while. It's like riding a bike. You pick it back up.
I guess so. I don't know. We've thought about doing some fun things here and there. Obviously, COVID has put a wrench in the gear of trying any sort of new class. We talked about doing a women's self-defense. I think that would be cool because I did teach karate too.
Oh, nice. Man, you've done everything.
I started from the bottom and then I ended up being the program director, so I had to learn every program.
Dang.
I enjoyed it. It gave a lot of variety because I think most people come in there and their thing is mostly just teaching gymnastics. But I did a little bit of everything.
Yeah, that's awesome. Could you like kill me with like just a chop? Like, do you have like some like ninja skills?
I mean, I'm a little bit of a ninja. No,
Part-time ninja.
I'm really out of practice, and honestly, that's something that I would like to get back into. Really have to get a lot more flexible for that, so I can throw. Yeah, because I'm about the kicks. I like kicks, so you want to make sure you stretch before you kick.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, like, so how does your, being a trainer now and everything you've done, like, where does your own fitness come into play? Like currently, like, where do you have like fitness goals or anything like that?
I do. I think this is a conversation we'll get to later, but I developed the hernia that I just got fixed in December. So just so everybody knows, it is genetically predisposed. I can't say that word. Can you say it for me?
Disposed.
Thank you. Predisposed.
Yeah.
And I just want to make sure that a lot of people, they realize, this guy's a trainer and he's getting hernias all over the place.
Lifting heavy, bro. Getting them sick gains.
Exactly. So no, and that's at the time it was. I was chasing some gains. I was trying to get stronger. I was doing a little bit too much, lifting like 5 days a week and trying to build some landscaping my yard and playing baseball, and basically didn't have a day off. So here's my idea to shout out and say, hey, give yourself a day off. You need it.
Yeah.
Anyway, since then, the point of me bringing this up is I'm kind of in a state of just bringing back my strength from the surgery.
Yeah. Well, that's important.
Yeah. So I'm doing things a little differently, trying to take it slow, trying to take it careful, one step at a time. Not trying to get out there and do barbell deadlifts right now. I'm just trying to get myself back into a position where I feel like, maybe I could play baseball, or I could, not that I necessarily will, I might, but get myself in a position where I'm fully functioning and feel like I can demonstrate everything that we need to demonstrate here at the gym, which I do feel like I can do, but I want to, still be that role model that people were like, okay, yeah, I want to be able to do that too.
Yeah. Well, I feel like this experience would be helpful for your training too, for other people that have had some sort of injury and coming back to be able to speak on. This is the process of coming back, where it's such a mental game, because you just want to come right back, and how you deal with that. Mm-hmm. Have you found that to be helpful for some clients?
Yeah, I think so. I think my approach is going to change just a little bit with a few different exercises. For an example, the barbell hip thrust is, everybody's familiar with that one for the booty gains.
Yeah.
And be careful with the way I load that on other individuals. But also, I think it gives me a perspective too on if somebody does get injured, or, people that have maybe never even worked out before.
Yeah.
What it feels like to be in that position to have not worked out for a while. And, coming back, it was like I started really slow. And when I say slow, I mean like just basic motions, push up from an incline bar, and squatting with body weight, which for some people might not necessarily be slow. But, for me, it was like I came from this place where I was used to just hammering it out. But I think it gave me a perspective, because I was like, wow, like I'm really sore from this.
Yeah.
So I think, that gives me a good perspective on people just starting, and people that maybe are coming off of an injury.
So what would you say is your favorite part of your job here at Cincy 360?
Oh, man. Seeing victories with people, not just losing weight and gaining strength and building muscle. But, I had one client come to me and say, Nick, I just talked to the doctor, and it looks like we're going to be able to get me off my blood pressure medication.
Awesome.
One person said, I was on 2 different types of antidepressants. I'm going to drop one of them now. Those types of things are really, touch you in the heart when somebody comes to you and gives you that victory. Again, not just the aesthetic, I look like this victory, but this changed my life victory. Mm-hmm. I think that's the biggest part of this job that I see that keeps me coming in at 6 a.m. every day.
So do you foresee yourself doing this forever? Like, is this doing the personal training thing?
I have a hard time seeing forever. And I'm interested in a lot of different things, but I do think it's always going to be a part of my life. Talking it out, what I find myself saying is I think that I want to somewhere down the road become almost like a trainer. I think that would be fun. Mm-hmm. Or, doing more things like this, as you and I talking, and just having conversations about things that I think need to be discussed and maybe aren't being discussed, and just giving people as many different platforms to learn as they possibly can. Some people, they learn through listening, or some people learn through writing, or some people learn through, me demonstrating. Some people might learn from them doing it themselves.
Yeah.
So I think that, giving people is many different ways of learning the information as possible. And then also trying to give the gift that I have done to other people, and having even larger impact than I can even just by myself currently.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, then you're even, working on projects now too here at the gym, of like learning video editing and been shooting videos. I mean, this has been going on a while of like, I know specifically you and Josh have trying to come up with like, virtual programs and stuff like that to just give another avenue. And I think that's super cool because that's just, also learning a new skill. I mean, obviously you already have like a ton of them, like from ska band to like karate guy. Like, oh, I'm going to be a video editor now. Yeah, right. Your LinkedIn page goes for like, you have to scroll till you get a finger cramp. But like just adding to the list too of like, I think that's, it's so awesome just where you can see the action of like the continuous learning, like you said, of like to know that there's so much you don't know. So you just want to keep learning and touching all these different avenues of, hey, like a virtual component or putting together, a program that could be useful to people online. Like, why not? Like, let's explore this and let's put the work into it and the thought into it and see how that can help people too. I mean, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. And that's kind of why I said before, like, I don't know what forever looks like to me, because I feel like my thirst for life comes from learning new things and trying new things and doing different things. But we have the program that's up and coming up, and thank goodness your husband helped me out with just learning just the bare minimum of what I need to do to edit video. But it's, even with that, it's been a process of learning, and basically just YouTube,
Yeah,
YouTube tutorials.
Do everything from YouTube.
Yeah.
Like literally learn anything. And that's where my brain doesn't work for video of like, hey, I'm doing this really small task. Let me make a video of it to show other people how to do it. But it's like, I don't know if there's anything that's not on YouTube. I'm like, dang, people just like, even I was, putting together a program for somebody, a fitness program the other day. And I was still like, in case they didn't understand what I was talking about, I went to find YouTube videos of what the machines they had at Planet Fitness. And so they could see them move for the machine at Planet Fitness. And like, some dude in Minnesota just went around to every single machine at Planet Fitness and showed you how to use it. And they're all separate videos. And like, well, thanks, dude.
Yeah.
that was helpful.
Yeah. And until you do it, you don't realize how much work that is. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I think people just take it for granted because it's all over the place right now. And part of the reason why I think, we really haven't sparked it earlier is because it is so saturated with people that are trying to teach you everything in the world plus some. And, fitness, especially fitness. I mean, there's no shortage of fitness information out there. But why would my opinion matter versus somebody else's, or the way I say it, basically just, it's all regurgitated information. Right. So, but I think what caught on for me was thinking that, some people want to hear from me. Some people want to hear from Josh. Some people want to hear from Leah. Some people want to hear from you, Whitney. Like people like the way you explain, and they come to see you because of a reason. So that's kind of why we're putting this together to give somebody else more value for what they get, and that way when you come in, and maybe you can only do 1 day a week, we can still give you this program and be like, okay, well, I want you to do exercises 1 through 5, 2 other days a week or whatever it is, and just give you more value from the person that you have entrusted.
Yeah. So outside of that, do you have space for any other clients? Like, would you take on any new clients at this point?
There's certain times of the day that I think that I could probably fit in, 1 or 2, I guess depends, everybody trains for a different amount of times per week. I could definitely take in somebody that wanted a 2 day a week, half hour or something like that. But I am at this point getting pretty full.
Okay.
Which is good. It was a slow transition from, the holidays, COVID, my surgery, everything that happened there. It was a slow ramp up, and I think that was good for me because I needed time to recover and not just hit the floor. I was running as hard as I was when, it all happened in the first place.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say morning hours, 8 o'clock, which is kind of a difficult time to fill. There's probably people out there that can do that time, but it seems to be the I'm already at work kind of hour.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of people are going back to the office at this point from COVID too. Like that's kind of where people that had more freedom working at home might be going back into a workplace and losing some freedoms. I think that'll be interesting to see how schedules change over the course of the rest of 2021, considering nothing else catastrophic happens as we all tread lightly.
You got to put the positive thoughts into the atmosphere. We got to do it. You have to do it. I have to do it. And we all have to do it together because that's really what it is. It's the positive mindset is a society that's going to help us move forward again.
Totally. I agree. I feel like things feel much better now than they have before. At least I feel things just feel lighter and way more hopeful.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of people are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel with where we are in COVID. A lot of people are being vaccinated. And it feels like the numbers are going down. And I think that's taken weight off of a lot of people's chest. I mean, what a perfect storm for people to be unhealthy though, right?
Oh,
like
for sure.
Not just filling your head, but, you're forced to be at home. Most people that, are into fitness are usually going to a gym.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're forced to either figure it out at home or, maybe your motivation stops completely or maybe you don't have the knowledge to know how to continue in your home.
Or you can't afford a Peloton.
Oh, yeah. What was that, like $4,000 or something?
I'm not sure. I know it's out of my price range.
Right.
I know that.
Yeah. So, you got that happening, and then you have, people staying indoors. They're not getting sunlight. It's just like kind of that perfect.
Well, and just also too, just like how depressing a lot of things have been,
Mm-hmm.
whether, people's families got affected or people got sick or people died or you lost your job or whatever. And then so many people, myself included, go to food for comfort. And so then it's, kind of trying to deal with this in the ways that we can. And it's much cheaper to go buy a bag of Cheetos than to pay for therapy. So
Definitely.
And I think that, it's just kind of, it's been a stumbling block in so many ways. But I mean, from the beginning that COVID happened, I have had the mindset of like, I really hope, and I believe it will, just kind of change a shift to think about more health and think about, thinking about immunity or and just being a healthy person and or that you got affected by this and now switching to a healthier lifestyle. I don't know. I feel like COVID is obviously awful in so many ways, but I think it's been a blessing in so many ways of just kind of waking us up to what's really important, how short life can be, how do we want to show up in this world for the short time that we have, and to think about having a healthy body and relationship with your body and just feel mentally, physically healthy so you can better get through these like life events. And I just really hope that that's a takeaway for a lot of people.
I hope so too. Yeah, I definitely think it should be a learning experience for all of us. I think as a wake-up call for physiological and mental health. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like mental health was one of those things that we knew we were kind of struggling with, but until now it's like, okay, whoa, like it's everybody, right? Like, and I think that, the one thing I just want to make sure that people know is like, that is the best way to help yourself mentally is to move your body. Like, as far as the studies that I've seen, I don't know that there's anything that even comes close. You know what I mean? Medication, but from what I've seen, the studies are saying that exercise outperforms medication on a lot of levels too. So I think it's important for anybody that's listening and is having a hard time right now to know that it's probably the last thing that you want to do when you're in that state.
Yeah.
But it really does help. And I think, one step forward leads to the next. And if you can take that one step out to take a walk, then maybe that can turn to, I did 2 walks in 2 days, or okay, I did one every week, and you know what, I'm feeling good. Maybe I'm gonna find instructor that I like on YouTube, or whatever it is, and I'm gonna do a quick workout in my home and see it. And I just feel like it snowballs effects from there. So
yeah, it's the first step is the hardest.
yes,
and then once you get going, it gets easier. And then I think that totally when you start doing it, and then you really see how much your mood elevates from that, then it's addictive.
it is.
And then you just want to do more and do better for your body, and that probably will change your nutrition and everything else. Because once you see that that those sorts of things work and you can totally do them, then why wouldn't you?
That's why I like to look at it. But I know there's a lot of people that are stuck in that position, and it doesn't just go for just this. It can be for anything. It's like you're afraid to move. You're afraid to make the first step, and that first step's always the hardest. Well,
you make the first step very easy for somebody walking into the gym. I feel that you just have such a warm presence about you and very welcoming. And if somebody is listening to this and they want to get more involved moving the body and they could fit into your tiny windows, how would they best get a hold of you?
I guess you could always do the info at Cincy360fitness.com.
Okay.
Or you could my personal, but I'm probably just do the first one because my last name is long.
Yeah. I mean, what about following me on Instagram or anything like that? Is that a priority?
I do dabble. So same before on Instagram, you'll find me floating in and out. I get really encouraged to be good about it, being on there for a while, and then I kind of stray away. But I find myself, if I find myself checking it too often and I'm not paying attention to my family or, whatever, then I'm like, okay, this isn't worth it to me. But, if in my spare time, I do like to throw a meme on there every once in a while. It's at Nick, N-I-C, and my last name, Alessandrini, Alessandrini, is the handle for Instagram.
That's already left my brain.
That's why I gave you the info.
Right?
Email.
Yeah, I was lucky to have Valentine. It was easily understood, spelled. 2 basic names, Amanda, Valentine.
Perfect.
I'm sure that your school education was probably a little bit different with misspellings and pronunciations. And
my homeroom teacher at our senior banquet botched my name, so she had me for 4 years.
So it's just Nick.
Yeah, just Nick.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much for being on the podcast again, and I'll see you at work.
Perfect.
AmandaValentineBites.com